Cyber attacks put Russian fingers on the switch at power plants, the U.S. says. The Trump administration accused Russia on Thursday of engineering a series of cyber attacks that targeted American and European nuclear power plants and water and electrical systems and could have sabotaged or shut power plants off at will. United States officials and private security firms saw the attacks as a signal by Moscow that it would disrupt the West's critical facilities in the events of a conflict. They said the strikes accelerated in late 2015 at the same time the Russian interference in the U.S.-American election was underway. In the following months, according to a Department of Homeland Security report issued on Thursday, Russian hackers made their way to machines with access to critical control systems at power plants that were not identified. The hackers never went so far as to sabotage or shut down the computer systems that guide the operations of the plants. So this is from March 15th. So this is a new accusation. So it's weird that, you know, and I'm not an expert on hacking, obviously, but why would you hack some kind of big computer system if you planned on doing nothing? Is that a fair question to ask? Like, why would you do that if you were planning on doing nothing? The groups that conducted the energy attacks, which are linked to Russian intelligence agencies, appear to be different from the two hacking groups that were involved in the election interference. That would suggest that at least 3 separate Russian cyber operations were underway simultaneously. One of the 3, by the way, was making Rainbow Bernie ab memes. That's what one of the 3 was doing. I just tweeted you what Julian Assange said. Go look. I'll go look at it. Let's see. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing a tweet from Julian Assange. Yeah, I'm not seeing a Julian Assange tweet. Derek points out it's funny how Russia became a real villain only after it came in to save Syria. Yeah. Yeah, I you know, again, I'm not just going to take something hook, line, and sinker because one of the intelligence agencies said so. Because these intelligence agencies were sure that there were weapons of mass destruction. These intelligence agencies were sure there was some big collusion plot. All of a sudden, that big collusion plot turned into interference. And after a year and a half, what's the evidence that we have? 13 Twitter trolls. And again, you have to really look at the language here. Now, I'm not saying that Russia is behind this attack or not. I'm saying I'm going to wait for something a little more concrete than just this New York Times article. Russian hackers made their way to machines with access to critical control systems. The hackers never did anything. I guess they just broke in. And these guys were not connected to the other intelligence agencies that apparently did the quote-unquote election interference. Forensic analysts suggested that Russian spies were looking for inroads. What the hell does that mean? What does that even mean? Again, you have to read this. Well, they're not affiliated with the other intelligence agencies, which means there are multiple intelligence agencies. Like, do you see how maybe this is just a bunch of bullshit? Do you see how you need to really read between the lines before you cast judgment? Because these intelligence agencies are concerned with one thing, just making sure we're in endless war. That's what they want. Also, Kimmy points out, he said this is common and well known. Why the big deal now? Yeah, Russia's a big old country. I'm sure there's plenty of cyber criminals in Russia, just like there's cyber criminals in the United States, in every other country. DC points out, if you cry wolf, this is what you get if you are telling the truth. That's a good slippery slope to point out here. You know, they've been crying wolf so much that, you know, if there ever was something relevant, a lot of us are going to be very slow to crawl to it. A lot of us are, because I'm slow. And DC points out the trick to the New York Times is read the last paragraphs. Exactly. All right, so let's read the last couple paragraphs. It is unclear that their perceived benefit would be causing damage on U.S. soil. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's start here. I'm sorry. Russia certainly has the technical capability to do damage, as it demonstrated in the UK, said Eric Cornelius, a cybersecurity expert at Cylance, a private security firm who previously assessed critical infrastructure threats. It is unclear what the perceived benefit would be from causing damage on U.S. soil, especially given the retaliation it would provoke. Though a major step towards deterrence, public naming countries accused of cyber attacks still isn't unlikely to shame them into stopping. The United States is struggling to come up with appropriate responses. Lieutenant General Paul Nakasone, who has been nominated as director of the NSA and commander of the U.S. Cyber Command, the military cyber unit, said during a Senate confirmation hearing this month that the countries attacking the United States so far have little to worry about. I would say right now they do not think much will happen to them. He later added, they don't fear us, which is a little bit of fear-mongering language at the end there. But to sum that up in layman's language, this is kind of regular stuff that happens all the time all over the world. That's pretty much what they're saying. DC, would you agree with that? That's more or less. So again, what the New York Times and other corporate media outlets do is they hyperbolize and sensationalize a headline. And then when you read down below, just like all the stuff, they're just be like, yeah, we have this. So it was definitely a cyber hack that happened here, here, and here. And then you read a couple paragraphs down and it says, we actually don't have any evidence that this is for sure the case yet. That's why people have gotten fired over Russiagate. That's why CNN has had to fire people, because their propaganda was so poorly crafted that they got caught. DC says, yes, I agree with that, but Rachel Maddow would disagree. Of course. Of course. Because she's getting paid a lot of money to continue this Russiagate hysteria indefinitely. So apparently they hacked some kind of power grid. Again, this is resurfacing again, but they didn't do anything. And by the way, this is regular stuff that happens all the time, but we're talking about it now because we're going to try to keep this going as long as we possibly can. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.